Question number 9. Grant Robertson.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he stand by his statement in Budget 2014, quote, "The share sale proceeds saw $4.7 billion go to the Future Investment Fund, and we said we would spend $1 billion of that on schools and a further $1 billion on health," end quote. If so, as at Budget 2015, how much has been allocated to health and education from the Future Investment Fund?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, and a good thing about the Future Investment Fund is the money going in and out of it is completely transparent. As I said in a budget press release last month, $635.6 million has so far been invested from the fund in education and another $684 million in health, and that's not counting, of course, the other investments such as the investment in ultra-fast broadband, which is a key technology to advancing both of those sectors. There is a further $726 million remaining in the fund without having to borrow. It's too early to say what all the disbursements from the fund will be, as the government will continue to look for opportunities to reprioritise capital, existing capital, to recycle more capital, to fund other initiatives from the FIF.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Is it correct that of the $726 million that he just mentioned, already $190 million of that's been pre-committed for spending on KiwiRail?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, that may be the case, and I'm pleased the member drew attention to KiwiRail because one of the calls on the Future Investment Fund has been that KiwiRail now requires somewhere between $200 to $250 million a year, which we didn't really.
Order. Point of order, Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, you'll appreciate that there was a very specific question about the budget that Mr English only delivered last week. He said he didn't know the answer, which is remarkable.
Order.
The rest of the answer is irrelevant.
We'll resume his seat. He was going quite well till then. The member took the opportunity supplementary to mention KiwiRail, so I was giving the Minister a chance to respond to that. Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Given that the budget documents state that there is only $536 million left to allocate from the Future Investment Fund, but that he has already committed to spend a further $680 million on education and health, is he going to answer this with tricky accounting, or is it just another broken promise?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the money will be spent on health and education, and if because of other calls on the Future Investment Fund it runs out, then we will be looking at reprioritising existing capital, recycling more capital, such as the sale of vacant land in Auckland, or borrowing to make sure that we do invest appropriately in health and education.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Is it correct that he has overcommitted Future Investment Fund funding by $424 million?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, no, and it's a bit rich. It's a bit rich that the Labor Party is complaining that the Future Investment Fund is too small when it did its best to sabotage the asset sales that were providing the money for the Future Investment.
Order. Question was answered right at the start. Supplementary question. Order.
Can I help the Minister out? Is 364 plus 316 plus 280 more than 536?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, it may or may not be. I wasn't adding it up, but I can assure the member that regardless of his focus on the accounting, which makes him sound more like a Treasury analyst than the opposition spokesperson, we will make sure we have enough capital to invest in health and education as required, better services and get better results. Order.
Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, is it true that if the opposition spokesman was any good with numbers, he would have got them the 2 times he had to go at the leadership?
Order. That sup will not help the order of this House. Question? No. No need for it to be answered. Question number 10.